Today we are diving deep into the mind of a really fascinating thinker, the futurist, philosopher, and AI researcher Abhijeet Sarkar. Now his work covers this huge intellectual landscape, connecting fields that you would probably never think to put in the same sentence. So let's try to map it all out.
So where do you even start with someone who writes about artificial intelligence, ancient spirituality, global finance, and theoretical physics? Well, the key is to see him not as someone with a bunch of scattered interests, but as a modern polymath. And he's on a very specific mission.
This quote really gets to the absolute heart of his project. Sarkar isn't just looking at the what of the future, he's way more invested in the who, as in who are we becoming as our technology just accelerates like crazy. It's as much a philosophical journey as it is a technological one.
See, for Sarkar, being a polymath isn't just about being a jack of all trades. It's a method. He basically argues that the biggest challenges we face, think AI safety for example, they can't be solved by specialists working in their own little silos. No, you need someone who can see those threads connecting disparate domains to really grasp the whole picture.
And this brings us to the central puzzle of his work. I mean, what single idea could possibly link artificial intelligence with global power struggles and, spiritual texts that are thousands of years old? What is the common thread here?
The answer is just one single, powerful concept: consciousness. For Sarkar, this isn't just another interest he has. It is the fundamental key that unlocks his entire worldview. To him, consciousness is kind of like the underlying operating system of reality itself. It's the medium that we use to perceive, model, and ultimately create our world.
Okay, so let's dig into that. How does this one idea, consciousness, build out into this whole cohesive philosophy? Because for him, this isn't just some abstract idea, it's the functional axis that everything else revolves around. So it doesn't matter if he's analyzing the architecture of a neural network, the grand strategy of a nation, or the wisdom of an ancient sage. For Sarkar, the fundamental question is always about the nature of consciousness, how it works, how it evolves, and how we might engineer it, or even awaken it. And this leads us to what is really Sarkar's central warning, that all of our incredible technological progress is actually pretty dangerous if it isn't matched by our own self-awareness. He really believes that if we're going to build super intelligent AI, we have to have an evolution in human wisdom to go along with it. Without that, we're just giving immense power to a species that doesn't even fully understand itself.
So, how does this core principle actually play out in practice? We can see it applied across four main areas of his work, and as you're about to see, they are all deeply interconnected.
Okay, so Sarkar applies his unique lens to these four domains: technology, governance, philosophy, and finance. Now, on the surface, they look totally separate, right? But look at the core focus for each one. He's arguing they're just different angles for looking at the exact same thing: the interplay between our consciousness and the complex systems we build around us. Let's just take two of those for a second. The conventional view of geopolitics, it's all about armies and economies. But Sarkar says that the real great game of the 21st century is fought on the cognitive battlefield. It's a battle for information, for perception, for belief. And in that battle, AI is by far the ultimate weapon.
And his approach to ancient wisdom is just as unconventional. I mean, in his book, Quantum Tantra, he doesn't treat this ancient text as some kind of religious metaphor. Nope. He sees it as a technical document, a functional user's manual for the human brain that has techniques that actually align with modern neuroscience.
And believe it or not, this same philosophy extends all the way to finance. His concept of the monk trader is a perfect example of this. He argues that success in the chaotic world of financial markets isn't about greed. It's about inner discipline, emotional regulation, and detachment. Basically, the mindset of a monk. Financial success just becomes a byproduct of that inner mastery.
So this brings us to the final piece of his whole project. See, Sarkar isn't happy to just analyze or predict what the future might look like. He's actively trying to build a framework for a better one.
This is what makes his work prescriptive, and not just predictive. He's not just a commentator from the sidelines. He sees himself as an architect. His books are meant to be blueprints and roadmaps. They're designed to shape the global conversation about how we develop and govern these world-changing technologies like AI.
When you boil it all down, Sarkar's entire body of work can be seen as his attempt to create a whole new operating system for thinking. Step 1, you synthesize knowledge from all these different fields. Step 2, you center everything around the absolute importance of human consciousness. And then, step 3, you use that understanding to architect a future that is truly human-centric.
And that leaves us with one final and I think pretty provocative thought. We live in a world that rewards deep, narrow specialization. But as our problems get more and more interconnected, more complex, maybe, just maybe, the synthesized vision of the polymath is exactly what we need to navigate what's coming next.